Hey guys, Fallout here, and as I'm sure you know, we are getting closer and closer to the D2 Vault of Glass dropping on May 22nd. I've already dropped a mechanics/refresher guide on how the basic mechanics of the raid work, which Bungie has confirmed will not drastically change. If you didn't catch that refresher guide, be sure to click the link in the top right corner at any time. Today though, I thought it would be a good idea to go over loadout recommendations. Granted, we still don't know the exact details of what enemies we'll be bumping into in VOG, other than that they're going to be Vex. But what loadout options could you put together that would more than likely perform very well in the D2 version of VOG? And when I say loadout options, I mean what weapons, what armor mods, everything. I'm going to try to avoid being overly specific with overall complete loadout recommendations, i.e. use this exact loadout I'm about to show you, because there's a ton of viable options and y'all should be encouraged to mix and match and come up with a loadout that you feel comfortable with and feel good about using. But before we get going, I want to give a shout out to the sponsor of today's video, Ridge Wallets. These things are beautiful, and I'm glad to promote them on my channel because I've actually been using one myself for about the past year. No joke, this right here has been my actual wallet. A lot of guys I know are still lugging around wallets like this. Big, bulky, floppy, and uncomfortable, doesn't sit well in your pocket, and you gotta move it around when you sit down. As I mentioned, over a year of the Ridge wallet, and I'm just never going back. It's light, sleek, and efficient. It doesn't fold or bulge out awkwardly in your pocket. It's got room for all my cards and a clip for bills when I am carrying cash. They've got over 30 colors and styles on their website, including carbon fiber and burnt titanium. Sounds like a Destiny shader. They've got 30,000 5-star reviews, one of them being mine, and each wallet comes with a lifetime warranty. Yes, you can buy just one wallet and boom, carry and use it for life. The Ridge is so confident you'll like it that they'll let you test drive it for 45 days, and if you don't, you can send it back for a full refund. Get 10% off today with free worldwide shipping and returns by going to ridge.com/falloutplays and use promo code falloutplays. Link to their site in the video description, and thank you again to Ridge for sponsoring today's video. All right, back to the content. Let's try to stay somewhat organized and kick things off with weapons. What do I feel are key weapons that are probably going to really pull their own weight in D2 VOG? I'm going to start with power weapons, because power weapons are damn important for DPS, and a lot of times I actually begin my build by thinking what kind of power weapon I would want to bring into the raid. First up, Anarchy. No surprise, right? Anarchy remains a top-tier PvE weapon that can do many jobs very well. Locking down a small area with prongs? Yeah, it can do that. Tagging a big enemy directly in the body for repeated chip damage? Yeah, it can do that. Quick heads up, by the way, I'm going to be talking about a lot of grenade launchers today for VOG because of multiple great armor mods on the seasonal artifact, the primary one being Breach and Clear, the 9 energy cost armor mod that turns any grenade launcher into a Hunter Tether level debuff. More on that later. We've also got any rocket launcher you might have with Lasting Impression. Normally I would say bonus points if it comes with auto-loading holster, which is a hot combo, but again, the godly Breach and Clear armor mod will auto-reload any stowed weapon. But yeah, Breach and Clear or not, rocket launchers do hit hard, and Lasting Impression is a great perk. You can feel more free about using rockets up close without nuking yourself. Each rocket does more damage, and you can swap to another gun to keep damaging while waiting for that rocket to blow with Lasting Impression. Xenophage is a classic raid option. Easy damage overall, you don't have to worry about getting crit shots, you don't need to worry about range, just point and hold down the trigger. Xenophage has another bonus in that if paired together with particular armor mods, it has the ability to generate Warmind cells, something that, believe me, we will get to later. We also have the Deathbringer exotic rocket launcher, which I think more people are talking about lately because of the new exotic catalyst. While the Deathbringer reload isn't exactly lightning quick, again, if you have a grenade launcher somewhere on your loadout paired with Breach and Clear, all stowed weapons will get auto-loaded, meaning we have much more on the table than before. Also, with another new artifact mod called Warmind's Decree, any weapon that can kill with void splash damage can create Warmind cells, and that includes the Deathbringer. Linear fusion rifles are something you might want to also consider. I know way back when we were all pretty hyped about the Sleeper Simulant, which was lined up to get a buff. Unfortunately, Bungie botched the buff, say that 3 times fast, and the Sleeper only got something like a 3% damage improvement when it was supposed to get more. Sleeper will still be good for VOG. It's not bad all of a sudden, but I don't think it'll end up being as cracked as we were all hoping. Bungie confirmed it won't get fixed, i.e. the full buff as it was intended to get, until after VOG Day 1 is over. Legendary linear fusion rifles might still be a good option though. They did get the full buff as intended, and rolling deep with a legendary power weapon means you can potentially equip an exotic primary or special weapon, which, as we'll talk about in a minute, can be really handy. If you have the threaded needle linear fusion rifle from last season, remember that can roll with Vorpal weapon, always a good thing to have for boss DPS, and rapid hit, which can bump up your reload speed. Finally, for power weapons, we have literally any grenade launcher. Doesn't matter if the roll is cracked or not. Breach and Clear is a dummy powerful armor mod that we'll go over, and even if you're triggering it with a legendary grenade launcher, a-okay. Before moving on to special ammo weapons, I want to quickly mention Lament and talk about swords. Swords are still good damage dealers for sure, but knowing how both the Templar boss fight and the Atheon boss fight should work, I don't know if I'm going to want to roll into VOG with the Lament. If things should change to the point where it's clear you definitely do want to roll in with a sword, yeah, I'll be sure to let you know later in the full D2 VOG guide. Okay, moving on to any weapon that takes special ammo, starting with, again, literally any grenade launcher. I can pretty much say it forever. Breach and Clear is really good, and activating it with a special grenade launcher means that you are A, debuffing the enemy, and B, auto-reloading your stowed weapons, which include your power weapons. Ignition Code, the new Season 14 nade launcher, is definitely worth a look, especially because it can drop with Slide Shot. Being able to repeatedly slide and fire your grenade launcher with no effort is kinda great, as those who have the role know. Wither Horde remains a top-shelf exotic launcher that I'm strongly considering bringing for the first few encounters. It auto-reloads when stowed with the exotic catalyst and is great for boss damage and crowd control. Salvager's Salvo is also top tier and does the same things well. Vorpal can hit big enemies harder, Chain Reaction is the go-to for crowd control, and Ambitious Assassin is there, which can give you more than one round in the tube, which is great. Truth Teller or the brand new solar launcher, the Empty Vessel, are also both top tier. Both launchers can roll with Disruption Break, but Vessel can potentially drop with Vorpal Weapon. Check through your vault to see if you've got that laying around. Truth Teller and Empty Vessel are also both Void and Solar, respectively, meaning that either one is capable of generating Warmind cells, one with Wrath of Rasputin, and the other with the brand new Warmind's Decree. Both launchers can also roll with blinding grenades, which is wildly entertaining in PvE. Deafening Whisper is a wave form launcher from Season of the Hunt that deals void damage, meaning it too can drop Warmind cells when paired together with Warmind's Decree. Moving on to non-grenade launchers that take green ammo, Telesto 2 is now a raid viable option thanks to Warmind's Decree. If you've got one laying around, don't forget about the Adored Sniper Rifle. Both Templar and Atheon are both enemies that are usually fought at mid-ish to long range, and Adored with its Vorpal and triple tap combo are nothing to sneeze at. While we're talking about snipers, go ahead and check your vault right now to see if you're one of the lucky few who's got a frozen orbit with both Vorpal and triple tap. If you've got that roll, GG no re, it's gonna pack an even harder punch than Adored due to the fact that frozen orbit is an aggressive frame sniper, not an adaptive. Shotguns are kinda up in the air for me at this point. I'm definitely worried about their ability to perform during boss fights. Again, the Templar and Atheon are usually fought from mid to long range, and with that in mind, I'd really be only using them probably for crowd control. In a perfect world, if I'm being 100% honest, unless VOG changes a lot in how the flow of combat works, I'll probably try to avoid using shotguns. Grenade launchers, A, pack a punch, B, can make Warmind cells, and C, are very viable in boss fights thanks to their new best friend, Breach and Clear. More on shotguns once we actually get our hands in the VOG dough, but for right now, none of my pre-planned loadouts feature a shotgun. Finally, we have Divinity. Divinity is actually kind of in a weird place for me right now because of Breach and Clear. Breach and Clear acts as a debuff, kind of like the Hunter Tether. Debuffs cannot stack with one another, and therefore, if you're already rolling deep with and regularly applying Breach and Clear, you, in theory, should not be getting any additional debuff help from Divinity, as they both apply a 30% debuff to the enemy. Divinity does really improve the ability to land crit shots though, something that Breach and Clear cannot help you with. If anyone on your team is not using Breach and Clear though, then yeah, Divinity would be a very clear help. Regarding primary ammo weapons, there's a few options that I think are slightly more ideal, but really most weapons should be fine. I'll put out an extra little recommendation for any Iclos or 7th Seraph weapon for the very obvious reason that they have the ability to generate a Warmind Warmind Cell. The 7th Seraph auto rifle is going to get an extra shout out from me because we currently have access to anti-barrier auto rifle mods on the seasonal artifact, and that makes dealing with Hobgoblin Vex much easier. The final primary ammo weapon I'm going to give a unique shout out to, believe it or not, Fighting Lion. Bear with me here, it's a grenade launcher, meaning you can use it to activate the Breach and Clear armor mod, and it's void, meaning that if paired together with Warmind's Decree, it can actually generate Warmind cells. All that, and remember, it uses primary ammo, meaning you could, in theory, pair it together with a really baller kinetic special weapon and not need to worry about starving yourself for green ammo. Quick note, it's entirely possible that VOG could contain Overload Minotaurs. If that's the case, then any SMG or hand cannon would have more viability. And extra shout out to the 7th Seraph hand cannon, because then it could both overload and make Warmind cells. Let's move on to armor mods. I'm gonna try to avoid the very obvious armor mods like Ammo Finder or Scavenger mods and try to maybe talk about ones that would be more unique to a particular raid loadout. I've already babbled on about it so much already, why don't we open up with Warmind armor mods. If you're ever feeling a tad lost, I have a complete beginner's guide to Warmind cell mods. You can find the link down in the video description. Really though, I can TLDR it into 2 different camps of Warmind cell mods that are popular right now. Camp number 1, destroy your Warmind cells, aka blow up every enemy in the room with fire. And then you have camp number 2, keep your Warmind cells on the floor as long as you can and reap passive benefits like taking less damage from and dealing more damage to enemies near Warmind cells. Why don't we start with camp number 1, aka Boom Boom the motherfucking room, which really are all solar Warmind cell mods. These are usually more popular IMHO because they require less thought and have that instant satisfaction factor. The key armor mods you're looking for here are the following: Burning Cells, Wrath of Rasputin, and Rage of the Warmind. If you have room, you can also throw in Fire Team Medic, which gives the nice benefit of your explosions also healing nearby teammates. Finally, you got Global Reach, which is borderline mandatory on any Warmind cell loadout because it way extends the reach of how far they can hurt and burn people. Reminder that Wrath of Rasputin is really key for pairing together with weapons like Xenophage, because not only can your solar Warmind explosions make more Warmind cells, but so can more of your own weapons. Now we've got camp number 2, aka Leave It on the ground Warmind cells, which really are all void. Power of Rasputin, Cellular Suppression, Grasp of the Warmind, Warmind's Protection, and Warmind's Longevity are all key to a passive Warmind buff build. Power of Rasputin lets you deal more damage to targets near a Warmind cell, and Protection means you take less damage from targets near a Warmind cell. Warmind Longevity allows cells to stick around for much longer, and Grasp allows you to pick up and throw a Warmind cell to wherever you want for better overall positioning. Cellular Suppression can be fun for pretty much blinding an entire room of people all at the same time. Just be sure to shoot only a little bit when needed and not completely destroy. As always, Global Reach is pretty much mandatory on any Warmind cell loadout. Reminder that when creating Warmind cells, you've got 3 main choices. 1, any 7th Seraph or Ikelos weapon. 2, Wrath of Rasputin and any Solar Splash weapon. And the brand new option 3, Warmind's Decree, when paired with any weapon that does void splash damage. Moving on, we've got Charged with Light. In the offense department, I personally don't like Charged with Light as much as a Warmind build. Reason being, most Charged with Light offense builds boil down to dealing extra damage, usually with mods like Argent Ordnance or Loosened Blade. Now, while those mods are good, it's important to keep in mind that both Argent Ordnance and Loosened Blade do not stack with Ward of Dawn, aka the Titan Bubble. Probably 99% of all prepared raid teams at this point are going to have at least one Ward of Dawn Titan right now, meaning that all that Charged with Light damage potential you have from Argent Ordnance is going to go to waste. I mean, still though, it can help out if your friendly neighborhood Titan is dead and you're trying to clutch up, or if your team happens to be split and you don't have immediate access to a Titan bubble. Defensively, Charged with Light has a neat little toy in Protective Light, which can kick in all on its own right when you need it to and save your own life. If I had to pick a Charged with Light build for VOG, I'd probably do Protective Light. There are other neat things you can do with Charged with Light, like Reactive Pulse, which can be nice for crowd control, or even energy converter if your goal is to charge up your super quicker. That stuff kind of depends on what your own goal is with your overall loadout. Make sure you flip through your collections catalog of all the charged with light mods you can make use of. But again, remember, damage dealing charged with light buffs do not stack with the Titan bubble. Quick note, if you want, you can always make kind of a hybrid build between Warmind and charged with light. There are mods out there like Light from Darkness, which charges you with light if you rapidly defeat enemies near a Warmind cell. All depends on what you're trying to achieve with your overall loadout though. Elemental wells are a thing too, albeit maybe a little bit less popular right now than both charged with light and a Warmind loadout. Font of Might could be worth a look. It only gives you a 10% damage buff. Doesn't sound like a lot, but it does stack with other empowering buffs, i.e. Titan Bubble and or Argent Ordnance and or whatever. Both Well of Life and Well of Tenacity can improve your Guardian's overall durability, and other elemental mods like Font of Wisdom can help you buff your ability regen. Again, if you're asking me, I'm probably going to bring a Warmind build to the Day 1 VOG party, but that doesn't mean that elemental well builds aren't worth tinkering with. Finally, Breach and Clear. In its own category, damage a boss or a champion or break a combatant shield equals a 10-second long 30% buff to all outgoing damage from your Guardian. Because it is technically a debuff, Breach and Clear will not stack with Hunter Tether, Divinity, Tractor Cannon, or other debuffs, but will stack with other buffs like Radiant Well Warlock, Titan Bubble, charged with light damage buffs, and so on. Breach and Clear also reloads all stowed weapons when activated. Holy shit, this armor mod is really good. Really quickly, why don't we talk about exotic armor? Each class has a few options that should do pretty well in VOG. Why don't we start with the Warlock? Boots of the Assembler are brand new and fairly badass. A lot of areas in VOG aren't terribly large, and Boots of the Assembler means you can perma-heal or perma-buff your teammates repeatedly from up to around 40-ish meters away. The Geomag boots are straightforward if you want big burst damage in the form of your Chaos Reach. Remember, by the way, that Breach and Clear's debuff isn't limited to weapons only, meaning you could activate that Breach and Clear debuff on a single boss, then immediately launch Extended Geomag Chaos Reach for a lot of damage. Phoenix Protocol is tried and true, more Radiant Wells being dropped for your fire team, never a bad thing. The Lunafaction boots are still good, but might have taken a little bit of a hit in viability for VOG due to the fact that, again, Breach and Clear is a thing. Do you know what's even better than having a quick reload speed? Having all your stowed weapons auto-reloaded by Breach and Clear. And finally, it's not really an exotic, but I did want to put it out there that Bleak Watcher, aka the Shadebinder turret, is back in the game and usable again. Very handy for PvE and overall crowd control. Titan exotics. The Helm of Saint 14 is always top shelf. As long as the Titan bubble gives the absurdly powerful 35% weapon damage buff, Bubble Titans are always going to be good in any raid. Helm of Saint 14 will blind enemies who wander into your bubble and give an overshield to teammates who wander through your bubble. Ursa Furiosa is also good for both damage dealing, protecting, and for overall orb generation, which your local Star Eater Hunter players are really going to appreciate. The Falling Star chest exotic is also top notch if you're already packed with maybe too many Bubble Titans and you just want some flat out big boy damage at the drop of a hat. Hunter exotics. Star Eater Scales has revealed itself to be literally one of the best pieces of exotic PvE armor in the history of D2. Your DPS potential becomes laughably high. You get a bonus to not only your super damage, but to your weapon damage as well after your super has ended. I'd recommend that any Hunter player who wants an easy way to dish out big damage in VOG with little complication, your pick is the Star Eater. Remember though, Star Eater requires orbs to perform at top potential, meaning you can never have too many orb generators on your team. Enter the Orpheus Rig, excellent for crowd control, super generation, and orb generation. Maybe not as flashy as Star Eater, but definitely very good. Omnioculus is also a potential play, but if I'm being honest, I would probably rather use Star Eater. Really quickly, let's finish up by taking everything we've talked about today and putting together a few sample day one raid builds. Please take note, I am not saying that these are the end all be all. Definitely use these loadouts or you're effing up. for each class, because that is not what I'm saying. I'm just helping take what we've gone over already and helping you brainstorm ideas for you to put together for your own day one builds. We'll go ahead and do one for each class. Warlock. Radiant Wells are always fun to bring into a raid, and maybe for this example build, we'll go with the old Warmind make the room go boom loadout. I've got a 7 Seraph auto rifle, great for making Warmind cells, also a Deafening Whisper grenade launcher, and the Deathbringer rocket launcher. Because I have Warmind's Decree turned on, literally all 3 of my weapons are capable of generating a Warmind cell. And because I have a grenade launcher, of course I have Breach and Clear for that big 30% debuff when the time comes. We've got Phoenix Protocol for even more Radiant Well generation, and the go-to Warmind cell mods for lighting people on fire, Wrath, Rage, Burning Cells, and Global Reach. And boom, right there, a Warlock sample build that can make a ton of Warmind cells, light the entire room on fire repeatedly, and buff with a lot of Radiant Wells. How about a sample Hunter build? We've already done something with Light the World on Fire, so how about a Void Warmind build? Exotic armor-wise, we've got on the Star Eater, and I'm rocking Bottom Tree Golden Gun. Now I can pop a super, potentially dish out big damage with Goldie, and continue dishing out big damage with my weapons until the Star Eater damage timer goes away. Weapon-wise, I've got the Seraph Hand Cannon for Warmind cell generation, and Anarchy. Remember, if I tag an enemy with Anarchy, then change to my hand cannon as my enemy dies, the game counts that kill as a kill with my hand cannon, i.e. it counts towards a Warmind cell. Of course, I have Breach and Clear, which I can easily activate with the Anarchy, and then we'll bring it on home with the Adored Sniper. My plan being to tag a boss with the Anarchy, which activates Breach and Clear, meaning I can whip out my now fully reloaded Adored and dish out the pain on Atheon. Mod-wise, we are rocking Power of Rasputin, Warmind's Protection, Grasp of the Warmind, Warmind's Longevity, and Global Reach. The plan there being if I pick up a Warmind cell and yeet it over to near where Atheon is, I'll now take less damage from Atheon potentially and now deal even more damage to him while the Warmind cell is nearby. Time to bring it on home with a sample Titan build. My Titan wants to be a team player, so he decides to put on Ward of Dawn complete with Helm of St. Fourteen. I've already done 2 Warmind cell builds. How about Charge with Light? Protective Light is there, and I want to try to make sure I take advantage of it to the point where basically my Titan isn't too afraid of dying. I have multiple ways of charging myself up with Light. We've got Taking Charge, Swift Charge, and Blast Radius, not to mention Charged Up for another stack of Charged with Light. Weapon-wise, I've got the Wither Horde for top-tier ad clear, a Premonition Pulse Rifle for range, and to charge myself with Light with Swift Charge, and a linear fusion rifle with Vorpal weapon for boss DPS. Hey Fallout, you have Wither Horde, why not add on Breach and Clear? If that question came into your head when seeing my final sample build, good. These are questions you should be asking. What makes a good raid build? What perks interest you? And what ways do you want to help out your team? I think we've laid out plenty of good options, and now all you gotta do is go through, do a little tinkering, and put together something that you think is gonna work well with what your team is already running. Remember, a good loadout is like a puzzle piece. Yeah, your Radiant Well Warlock build could be cracked, but is it gonna fit well on a team of 5 other Warlocks with no Titan bubble? Coordinate loadouts with your raid team. You've got plenty to work with. Big shout out to my patrons for the month. I appreciate all of you. You are the wind beneath my wings. If you've got a raid loadout you feel really good about, whether it be an ad clear loadout, a DPS loadout, whatever, feel free to share it down in the comment section. If today's video helped you in any way, please click the like button and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. It really helps me out. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.